Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to a Monday Reflection on the Rock, where we're still continuing our conversations with people connected to Covenant Spiritual Life Center here in Rochester, New York. Today, I am thrilled to have a figure from my past with me, a young person who grew up in the church that I pastored for many years. And Audrey DiPoala is now living in the city and has started attending, well, quite some time now, not recently, Covenant. And so welcome, glad you're here. And I just wanted to pick her brains a little bit about young people, because I'm so old now that I don't really know why somebody like you walks into a church anymore. You know, what's the attraction? What could we do differently? Anything that you want to tell us as a young person in this day and age, and also to have young people who are willing to say that they go to church or that they are Christian or Jesus followers or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, I grew up at Fairport United Methodist Church, where you were the pastor there. I think it was very integral to my formative years growing up. My parents took us to church and Sunday school. Yes. I feel like it was every Sunday.
It probably was. They were pretty faithful.
Yeah, I feel like we were there a lot. Again, mornings were hard, so I didn't really want to be there. But
not a morning person.
Not a morning person at all. No. So I didn't really want to be there, but they still took us there, and I am very glad for that. I think it was really, really important to my shaping as an individual and who I am today. I think it's very a huge part of who I am today as a person. Yeah.
Because we do try to. I remember thinking about confirmation classes and how I tried to help people understand that if we're going to be whole people, we need to have our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual, as well as our physical beings tended to. So it seems like that we got something right there.
I would say so. I attribute a lot of, my good character parts to the church and to my upbringing in the church, Sunday school, listening to the scriptures, the different stories and things like that, just basically being a good person and
life at home
God
too,
is love
yes.
and all of that.
Yeah.
And my parents would, my dad would talk about God and stuff. We would say grace before dinner every day. So it was a big part of my life growing up.
Right.
And then, things got busy. I started playing volleyball. I started, just being more involved in school stuff. So church kind of went to the wayside. I think also they, as we got older, it was more on us if we wanted to come to church.
Right.
But again, we were away for volleyball tournaments over the weekend, so that kind of took the place of going to church. But it was still
it was still giving you some kind of community. A volleyball team is a real community builder.
It is, yep, for sure. And then, even still, so then going into college, I wanted to eventually go back to church, and there were just so many years that I never did. But you talked about confirmation, and I remember one of the stories during our confirmation classes was the Jesus fisherman story.
Oh yeah.
So actually my first tattoo was this Jesus fish.
Oh, so cool.
I got that. I was very excited about that. I just remember it was when I think I was 18 or 19 when I got it. So it served to ground me, or playing volleyball games, just a quick reminder and kind of a settled okay, things are good.
Right. And it's interesting that you looked at that as something that would sort of center you and keep you grounded, whereas many people's first tattoo is something wild as a sort of rebellion against all that stuff. That's interesting.
It was interesting because I thought the symbolism is important to me. And my dad was not a fan, which was, I don't know, I guess I'm not surprised, but also I got it for the church and stuff
it's
that.
a Jesus thing.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know. Yeah, he wasn't a huge fan, but I still like it to this day. I'm glad that I have it. It's just a nice little small reminder to
Yeah.
myself. And then, like I said, like so many years passed since like until I got back into the church, because that was probably 12 years past that I like didn't set foot. Like sometimes I would go like with my parents to Fairport United Methodist, but a very, very rare occasion.
Right.
But like that whole entire time I had been like still wanting to go to church. Like I moved into the city after college, and there was like a church kind of down the street that I like wanted to go to, but I just never did. Then I bought my house 2 years ago now or something, and you guys are right in the neighborhood, so it worked out really well. And around the time, like right before I came through your doors here, I was just like really feeling kind of lost in my life, like just disconnected.
Something was missing.
Yeah, something was definitely missing, and I always liked the feeling of being in church and how it just reminds you of the good things in life. Like it grounds you, it provides you a sense of like goodness in humanity.
Right. Yeah.
And I was not really getting much of that.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted that sense of like that grounding, that like the reminder that there is goodness in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody once said, I think it was John McNeil, who was one of my co-pastors, as you might remember. Where else do you find a place where people will gather and spend an hour a week intentionally focusing on the good, on love? God is love, and not many places.
No.
Not many places. No. And these days it seems like, it's getting worse in some ways, that you really need that place of hope. And in the city we see all sorts of terrible things going on, and I know you're doing your work, so it becomes very important to remember sort of a touchstone, like your tattoo. It's a touchstone. The building is a touchstone for hope and good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then, the other thing too that I was looking for is a church that's accepting and welcoming, because I do identify as gay. So, and I know actually when I was first coming out in 2009, I actually came to you.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. And that was like very, very, very important for me. Like,
but I hope I didn't say something stupid.
No. No. It was amazing, because I was like having this like turmoil and like my identity and stuff, and like, will the church still accept me and things like that, and like, what do I do? Also like kind of feeling you out, because like I knew like I needed to come out to my parents eventually, so they're gonna need something to hold on to.
Right.
So that was like really, really important. That conversation with you was very important. And then I know you talked to them like, months down the road, and they had a hard time with that.
They had a hard time. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But God made us, and God continues to make us and remake us, and it's wonderful when you see someone find out who they really are as a beloved child of God. And actually, I think now that you're telling me this, I'm remembering some of my conversation with your parents would have been around, that she's still a beloved child of God. It doesn't make any difference. She's still your beautiful daughter, Yeah. And of course here, Covenant is one of the reconciling churches in terms of reconciling ministries, which is the in word for open and affirming. Other denominations call themselves other things, but they've been very intentional here about that.
Yeah,
and you can tell on a Sunday morning sometimes how intentional we are about that. So.
Yep. Yeah. So that was definitely something that I was looking for too. And then like coincidentally, right when I joined the church here, we were all voting on, I forget what it was called, but basically saying that, any marriage will be accepted or performed here and stuff like that. So that was
that's
pretty powerful.
Yeah. I can't imagine how mind-blowing that must feel.
It was very mind-blowing, because I had no idea that it wasn't accepted. I thought that it was just
Well, it was a
already-
state law, so it should be okay.
or federal.
Right,
Like all
right.
states are doing same-sex marriages, or should be. So I had no idea that we weren't. I didn't know that it was like not.
The churches have different rules than even their states do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very mind-blowing then, right?
Yeah.
How affirming that must have felt. And how disappointing in some ways, like, oh,
Yeah.
really?
It was
It's been a thing?
disappointing. It was definitely disappointing, but also like pretty cool. It was very special that like people here cared that much to allow like someone like me to be a part of.
Come and get married if I want to. Yeah. Wow. Powerful. Gosh. And I think young people today are just blown away that the churches are so old-fashioned in so many things. That you have to do this, this, and this, or there are rules for this, this, and this, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. You know, and still pastors can get in trouble if they do something. But if the church, if the denomination, United Methodist Church, splits as it would seem to be inevitable, the ones that retain the name, the United Methodist Church, will be open and inclusive and will do same-sex marriages, and the others will not. And so that every United Methodist Church currently will have to make that choice. And one of the other things I love about this church too is that inclusivity has to do also with race, and which is a big issue in a city center like us, and economic status. You know, I think people feel it when they come in.
Yeah, I think so.
I felt it, and another conversation we had earlier, he said the same thing. He came in and he could feel an atmosphere that was just somehow right. So I'm glad that you've experienced that. And
yeah, it's been nice. Like everyone's been very welcoming here. It's been cool.
Well, and I'm just so excited that there is this sense of hope in a younger generation, but that also you've used the word several times, grounding. And the way the world is right now, it seems like it's very ungrounded. And so we go wherever we can find it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. This is absolutely incredible. And I know that there is some possibility that we might lose you to another place further south. So we're just going to love having you until we have to let you go.
Thank you.
And maybe we can, we'll certainly keep in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's another wonderful, exciting piece of uplifting news for the church, that we still have some relevance, and that more than anything, people today are needing that grounding in something bigger and more loving than what we find around us. So a good week, and we'll see you on Wednesdays or Fridays for evening prayer, or next Monday for who knows what. Good night.